Certain people, the way they eat, consider certain foods staples. Well, how about soup, salad, or steak? Today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, where our menu today, very simple, very basic. We're talking soup, salad, and steak. Let's go over the menu. We're doing a cold soup made with melon and cucumber and blue cheese chips. Out of this world. Then we're doing a fresh mozzarella, arugula, and prosciutto salad. Then we're doing a very American bourbon marinated skirt steak with an onion chili relish. These are great summer items that we're doing. Let's go over the ingredients for the first thing we're going to make, which is the melon cucumber soup. We're using cucumbers, cantaloupe, or any ripe melon, plain yogurt, cayenne pepper, salt, pepper, a little bit of ice, sugar, and some wine vinegar, and garnishing it with a little bit of finely chopped mint. So to make this soup, it's so easy. First thing we're going to do is I have some peeled cucumbers here, and with the cucumbers here, I'm just going to take my knife, cut them down this way, and I'm going to remove the seeds. Even though these seeds are very small, this is a European cucumber, an English cucumber, and the seeds are really underdeveloped. I'll just take my knife and I'll just remove the majority of these seeds here right out of the cucumber. So we just take your knife, go down this way. Now some chefs will take and they'll use a spoon to do this. You know, they'll just cut the cucumber in half. I find that it's very easy to do it with a knife, and I kind of enjoy doing it this way. So this is just a little Paul thing that I do, where I'll just take this and just remove those seeds. Now be careful when you're doing this at home because you're bringing it towards your hand. Make sure you put your hand on the other side of the knife as you're doing that, because the cucumber itself, your knife might be sharp, might slip. You could cut your finger. So you always want to just make sure, you always need to use caution when working with the knife. So now we take our cucumber. We don't have to cut this fine. We can cut this in nice big chunks like this. We'll take this. It goes in a food processor. If you don't have a processor at home, you could go ahead and use a blender too. That'll work. Then we'll take our melon here with our cayenne, with our sugar, and our ice. We're just going to process this. I like saying that word, process, as opposed to process. We're going to process this just until it's very smooth. Let's just put this on. Now, once this gets nice and smooth, then we'll go ahead and add the vinegar and the sour cream. So let's get our vinegar right in here. Let's go like this. A little bit of the vinegar. Nice wine vinegar. You need that for a balance of flavor. Beautiful. Now, when you add the sour cream, or the yogurt, I'm sorry, not sour cream. When you add the yogurt, you're just going to barely process this. So we'll just take this way. That's it. Then we take this and we're going to strain this off now. We need to strain out some of the solids there of the fruit and the cucumber. So we'll just take this and we're going to force this through. I don't want this to be a real thick soup. Now, if you want, you could go ahead and leave those bits in there, but this way you're going to get a much cleaner flavor with this. So we have this right here. Okay, now, you could also just set this in a refrigerator and let it drain overnight, but you'll see that I'm not going to lose too much of my volume here because I'm actually forcing any pieces that are small enough to fit through this fine strainer to go through this. Beautiful. Good. Now, my cold soup is done here. Excellent. Notice, I lost maybe 2 tablespoons of solid here. Really not that much. Okay, that's good. Now, my soup is good to go here. I just need to taste this and season it with salt and pepper, possibly. So let's... Just a pinch here of salt is all it really needs. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're making some blue cheese chips. Now, to This is as a garnish for the soup here. So what I have here is I have some inexpensive blue cheese crumbs that you can use right here. We'll take our blue cheese crumbs with some butter. And we're just going to process this in the processor here. There we are. Just going to go ahead and, why doesn't, me and machines, sometimes, I don't know. There we are. All we have to do is process this, get it nice and smooth there. Good. Mix the butter with the blue cheese. Then we take uncooked corn tortillas here. You spread this onto the corn tortilla just like this. So you get a nice coating like this. And all you're going to do with these is, you don't want to fry these. You actually take these and you bake them off in the oven. Let me just show you this again. And if you don't like blue cheese, and let's say you wanted to use a goat cheese or any type of your favorite cheese, that will work. But the blue cheese really goes well with this. Bake these off in the oven until they get nice and dry. And this is what they look like right here. So you have the lovely flavor of the corn and the blue cheese. Then we would just take some of our soup right here. Let's just come right over here. Get my ladle right over here. Isn't it amazing how ladles just automatically appear? Come over here, we dish this up this way. And then, now this has some real heat to it, and it's good, delicious ice cold. And then just take a few of these chips, just kind of float them on top like that. Out of this world. We're going to take a little break right now, and then when we come back, fresh mozzarella, arugula, and prosciutto salad. Don't go anywhere. Soup, salad, and steak. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where now it's time for our salad. Now, the salad we're doing, it's actually a mozzarella, prosciutto, and arugula salad, but it could also be an appetizer. The first thing that I'm going to do is I have some boiling water here. Into the boiling water, I'm going to add some salt. And I'm not too concerned about the amount of salt, because then I have this baby arugula right here that I'm just taking and dropping into the water this way. And I just want to show you the difference in the color here that occurs very quickly, where I then take it and I shock the arugula, and look at the great color that I get on the arugula right here. And this is exactly what we want it to look like. We just want to soften it a little bit. The color's locked in, and now it's soft enough for us to wrap around the prosciutto. So let me just shut off the water here. Now I already have some done over here. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'll just take my arugula right here, and I have the pre-sliced prosciutto that you can buy in the supermarket. It looks like this. Then we'll just take a little piece of arugula here, and we're going to lay this out right onto the prosciutto here. And I'll just do 3 pieces right here. Then I take my small mozzarella right here, and I'll put 3 pieces right here as well, going across this. I always look at ways that I can go ahead and make my life easier when I'm making something in the kitchen. I'll pick this up this way, and then I'll just roll it till I get about halfway down the prosciutto. I'll take my knife right here, cut through this. Now I can get 3 more out of that piece, and then I come right here, and I'll just cut this down here, and I just cut this down here. Might come a little undone, and then we just take this nice and tight, and we're going to set this up in a bowl here so that people can just go ahead and pick this up. It's out of this world. So it's such an easy hors d'oeuvre to do. And you can see when we wrap these up how nice this looks. Now I already have some that are done right here so that you get a full bowl. This is what it looks like. Now the other thing we need to do is we need to then take this and make a little chive oil to serve with it. So I have some chives right here. And what I'm going to do with these chives to really bring out the color is similar to the arugula, where I'll cut them into 3s right here. I'm going to take these and drop them in, again, very hot boiling water. I will count to about 3. 1, 2, 3. They've already changed color. I'll remove these now, put them in a little bit of ice water here just to shock them so that we stop the cooking process. Then we'll take this, put this into a blender, A few more here. I don't want to miss any of these chives. A few more here. Put the blender on. Then we just add a little oil to this. The oil is going to, and the moisture from the chives are going to emulsify. The only thing we need is we need a little bit of salt in here, a little bit of pepper. Now, if you wanted to use basil or garlic in this, you can. I just want a little bit here. I just really want the essence of the chive to come through. Then we take a little bit of this chive oil and we just kind of drizzle it across here. So you just get a little taste. It's very potent. You don't need a lot. And then to garnish this, take a little bit of fresh melon and slice a melon ever so thin like this, so that if people want a little piece of melon to go with this, they can use this as well. And then with this, I would just take this and just put it right around the bowl this way, so that I had enough slices, one for every roll of the mozzarella and arugula and prosciutto. And I can tell you right now that if you take this with a little bit of this, it's a great taste sensation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to enjoy this right now. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we're talking bourbon marinated skirt steak with an onion chili relish. That's our steak. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where now it's time to make our steak. Now, to go with the steak, we're doing a onion chili relish. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just heat my pan on a very low heat, and I'm going to get my onions started. But let me go over all the ingredients. We're using white onion, garlic cloves, serrano chilies, which are somewhat hot, tomatoes, olive oil, a little bit of chicken stock, and some scallions. And I'll show you how we put this whole thing together. First thing we're going to do, I'll take my onion. Now, this is a relish, so we need to cut the onion somewhat consistent and somewhat small. So we'll just do a small dice on the onion here, where I cut the onion 3 or 4 times across that way. Then I just cut it down this way, just till I get to the end here. So that onion is good to go. Heat my pan, a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan here. I don't want the pan too hot, because what I'm going to do with the onion here is I really just want to sweat it out and not get too much color. I really want to draw those juices out. So while that gets started, then I'll take my garlic. Now, the garlic, based on the time of year when you buy the garlic, sometimes in the middle of the garlic, let's see if this has it right here. Okay, you'll see a green stem through the middle. That's going to be very garlicky and very bitter. But if it doesn't have it, you don't have to remove it. So this, I'm not going to mince this. I'm just going to go ahead and sliver this garlic really nice and thin to draw out the flavor, because I don't mind if somebody gets a little bit of garlic piece in their onions relish here. And the only reason I'm calling it it's a relish, or it's a garnish that goes with the steak. So this works just really well, especially with the skirt steak, which is from the belly of the animal. So let's just get a little bit more garlic here, finely sliced. We'll take this, we'll add this to our relish here. Stir this around a little bit so it just starts to sweat. Now we'll add just a little bit of salt to this. We'll add our tomatoes to this and our stock. All we're going to do now is allow this to really simmer ever so nicely. So that's going to simmer until they get really soft. And we should put a lid on that too while it simmers. Just kind of softens up those onions, makes a very nice relish. Now, next, we have to put together the marinade for the skirt steak. So to put the marinade together, I'm going to start with bourbon. Bourbon, very American. So we put a little bourbon in there. To this now, I'll add some honey. Oh, bourbon and honey, they kind of go together very well. We add our soy sauce, our water, and our ketchup. Need a little bit of water in there just to dilute everything. Make sure the steak gets well coated. We just mix this together, and then we put our skirt steak in. Now, I suggest that you marinate your skirt steak for a minimum of 2 or 3 hours in this marinade. Overnight will work really well too. Why? Because there's no acid present in it. So let's just turn down our relish there. Let's look at the skirt steak. Here's a beautiful example of a skirt steak here. And again, this is extremely high in fat and connective tissue. But when I go and I cut this down, I really want to leave the fat on here. The only thing I'll do is I'll come over here. See right here, if you feel like you have a little bit too much fat, you could take it off. But it's going to cook off in the cooking process anyway. And I would cut it down like this. Now, a lot of supermarkets, they already sell it where it's just cut into pieces like this, and you can buy the skirt steak. The most, aside from the chuck, the most flavorful steak that you can get. And we just put these in a marinade. Make sure they're well coated. Now, I already have some here that were already marinated. And I'm just going to take these now, start these with, now you'll notice on the skirt steak, see it's a little fattier on this side, less fatty this way. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start with the fat side down a little bit here to render out some of that fat so that then when I turn it over, it'll help to baste the meat. One thing about grilling, when you're grilling it, if you're using a grill pan here, is you have to have a little bit of patience. So I'm not going to try and turn this or anything else. I'm going to actually let this get nicely marked because it was in the marinade. It's going to take a little while longer. Then I'll turn it over. Then we're going to allow it to rest before we slice it. Let's take a little break. We're going to let our skirt steaks cook here. We have our onion relish going. We just need to finish that with a little bit of scallion and our serrano chili. We'll take a little break, and then when we come back, I'll show you how this all comes together. Soup, salad, steak. That's what's happening. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Let's Cook, where our skirt steaks are grilling. Now, these are almost perfect. You can see we test by touch. I'm not going to try and insert a thermometer in these, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these steaks now and allow them to rest. I already have 2 here that I've already removed before so that these are nicely rested. And what ends up happening when meat, when meat rests is the juices kind of redistribute through the meat and it continues to cook just from the residual heat. The other thing I need to do is I need to finish my onion relish here. So you can see that we've really cooked this down now where we hardly have any liquid left. This is where I'm going to add, based on heat, and be careful when you use these, the serrano chili, which is very hot, and our scallions. And all we're going to do is you can see that I just really want this tight enough so that when I take the spoon, I draw it across the bottom here. I don't have a lot of liquid going in. This needs to cook, for probably about another half a minute. Let's take a look at our steak now, because the skirt steak, the way the grain runs is the grain runs this way. So when we cut it, we would not cut it this way because then it's going to be really chewy. What we would do is we would cut it across the grain this way so that the juices don't run out. Oh. And again, this steak takes a while to cook because of the connective tissue. I happen to love a rare steak, so this is perfect for me. You might like it a little bit more done. It's really your call. This was a little thicker here. Let's take a look at the other one over here, because I know somebody out there saying, oh, Paul, I like my steak more medium. If you like it a little bit more medium or you don't want it runny, don't do it this way. So then we take this. Let me just plate up a little bit of this. So we have our onion relish right here. Out of this world. You can take a little bit of the onion relish there with a little bit of the skirt steak right here. Staples in life, whether it be the grilled skirt steak with the onion relish or the melon and cucumber soup with the blue cheese corn rounds, or the buccacinis or the prosciutto mozzarella salad. Thanks for watching Let's Cook. Have a good day. Bye-bye.